Good morning, Live Oak Church. This morning in our daily devotion, we're going to continue in and actually wrap up the topic of joy and asking ourselves, am I a joyful person? And really considering, where does our joy come from? What is the true source of joy in our lives? So today we're going to be in Luke chapter 10. That's also a very familiar chapter to many of you. This is where Jesus selects the 70 or 72 disciples and he sends them out. He sends them out to the cities and villages ahead of him to spread the good news of Jesus as the Messiah and to make way for him. And he tells them that he's sending them into hostile territory. He's sending them into areas where people not only don't believe, they are anti-Christ and anti-Jesus in this. He says he's sending them out as lambs among wolves. And he also tells them to go and not make any preparation. Don't prepare for the food that you will eat. Don't take any money with you, not even where you're going to stay, so that they are totally dependent on Jesus and his power alone. So the 72 go out, and in verse 17 we see where they return. And it says in Luke 17, the 72 returned with joy, saying, "Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name." And so as they went out into the villages and they met people who were against Christ, they saw Christ turning people. They saw him transforming lives. They saw the power that he had to rebuke demons and to make them flee. And it gave them great joy. And they saw elation in that. And so they come back to Jesus and say, "Jesus, with joy, look what happened. Look what they did. Look what happened here." And Jesus, understanding their joy and elation, but he wants to make sure that their joy is rooted in the true source of joy. So in verse 20, Jesus tells them, "Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven." So Jesus is telling them that, you'll have joy in your ministry here on our earth, and you'll see things happen and you can experience joy, but the true joy is knowing that you get to spend eternity in heaven with Jesus because of his work on the cross. Now, they didn't understand all that yet. They didn't have the Bible as we do to know the full story. But Jesus is telling them that their names, that their place in heaven is written and it is sure. And that's where our true joy comes from. So like the disciples who were sent out, Jesus tells us in Matthew 28 to go therefore and make disciples of all nations. He tells us that he will be with us, that we should baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that he will be with us in that. And so as we go out, we lean on his power, and in our ministry here on earth, our great commission here on earth, we will experience joy. We will also experience pain, and we will see sorrow for those who don't come to know Christ, but we will experience joy, and we can be elated in that and happy about that. But our true joy is the knowledge that our names are written in heaven. Our names are written in the book of life, and we can have great joy in that we get to spend eternity, not just this life. This life can be good, but eternity in heaven with Jesus and his Father. In fact, John tells us in Revelation, he tells us about heaven. He tells us that there will be no mourning, there will be no crying, there will be no death, there will be nothing but joy in heaven. We can look forward to that. He tells us what heaven will look like in the New Jerusalem. It will be made of gold and it will be lined with jewels, and what a great place it will be. But most importantly, he tells us in Revelation 21:3 that heaven will be a place where God will dwell with his people. We can look forward to eternity in heaven with God, with Jesus, so that we can glorifying him. That's where our true joy comes from, and that's where today we can have joy, no matter what the situation is here on earth, whether it's good or bad, and we're going to have both in our ministry here on earth. We can have joy in the fact that we are going to spend eternity in heaven with God in communion with him. I'll talk to you later.